Kind of a compliment if you think about it.
Take a shot.
Fire an enemy.
Bro, what the fuck is going on, though, bro?
Fucking here. I looked at him and
Gas is moving in. Safe zone. Enemy team hunting for you.
One bomb.
That was
Goobers, what's going on, baby? It's your boy Robbeezzyy, man. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys have been having a long and beautiful, blessed weekend. I'm so glad you guys could tap in with me today. I'm going to be touching on how to better your aim. I've been getting a lot of questions and comments about how do I clutch games and how do I move so quickly, and maybe some pointers and tips on how to get better with movement. But I think it's really good to set a strong foundation to work on your aiming first, because there's a lot of players out there who don't win the majority of their gunfights. And my movement and my IQ to make those gas plays to clutch up games is nothing without gun skill. If you're not going to hit your shots and actually win your fights, then everything else doesn't matter after that. So that's what this video is going to be for, man. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns that I didn't address in this video, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments. If they're short and quick, I can always answer them in a YouTube short and try and give you guys the best breakdown possible. But I'm going to go ahead and segment this video as best as I can into 5 categories. The first thing I want you guys to focus on is adjusting your sensitivity. I want you to adjust your sensitivity because a lot of you guys haven't took out the time to go into your settings and see what works best for you. I initially started playing on 20/20 sensitivity, and that did not work for me for the longest amount of time. The second thing you need to do is play against bots. If you're playing against bots, and I mean, I'm not saying playing against kids that aren't very good at the game. I'm talking about go into a private lobby, play by yourself with bots on free-for-all, and focus on your aim. Focus on centering your shots, which is going to be the next point I want to talk about, and then playing really good people who are great at 1v1s. I'm talking about players with good movement, good gun skill, and that's going to elevate your game to the next level. And then after that, it's really just going to be experience and practice. One thing about Warzone, and really anything in life in my opinion, you're not going to get better on accident. It's going to have to be intentional if you want to get to where you want to be and increase your KD by 1, 2, or even potentially 3 whole points. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I loaded into a game on Speedball, and the first thing I want to talk about with you guys is setting up your controller settings and configuring it in the best possible way for you. I think the aim response curve type and the aim assist should remain on standard and dynamic. You can fiddle around with those as you want. I do have a settings video up on my YouTube channel, but for right now, what I want to talk about is going to be our sensitivities, your horizontal and vertical. I used to play on 20/20, but that was a little too fast for me, and I also didn't have an Elite controller, and I was playing on Xbox, so I didn't have the advantage of FOV. But over time, I realized that 20/20 is a little overkill for the mere fact that when I'm moving around on the map and I try and snap onto an enemy or an opponent, like this bot right here, I would always be off by a little margin instead of being able to just turn and then being able to snap on my 15/15 sensitivity that I have right now. So what you really need to do is go into your options, play around with whatever sensitivity you think works best for you, and then from there you need to work on what your ADS zoom multiplier is going to be. This is essentially going to be what your sensitivity is when you're aiming down sights. So if I have my ADS sensitivity higher than what it is right now, and I set it to, let's just say, like we can move this up to 1.7. This is ridiculous. You can see that when I'm aiming down sights, my sensitivity is moving way too fast for me to control, and that is not the smartest thing that you want. You want it to be really balanced so that when you're moving from your ADS speed to your regular sensitivity speed, it's going to be well balanced, and you're not going to be way too out of whack in control when you're trying to control that. So that is really probably one of the best things you can do for yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back to where it was. And the second thing that I want you to do is go ahead and play against bots. I have 4 bots here on the map, if I'm not mistaken. And what you want to do is focus on centering your shots wherever you go. So obviously I'm slide canceling right now. I'm probably gonna stop doing that. But what you need to do is keep moving wherever you are, and then when you see a bot, you need to go ahead and aim straight to him. Now, centering your shots is probably gonna be one of the most important things you can do, not only just helping your aim, but helping you stay aware. You can see that my crosshairs are staying right above where these head glitches might be. Just in case there's an enemy that wants to use one of these head glitches to get a shot off on me, I'm gonna stay even and level with wherever they are at all times and go ahead and hit my shots that way. And that's exactly what you want to do to stay consistent. You also want to work on being able to move and recognize where an enemy is and shoot him immediately. Now, obviously right now I'm not moving with my slide canceling. I'm not focusing on my movement or anything like that, but that's really going to be your primary goal. You need to make sure that you can hit your shots at any time and at any point. So that if I'm running and I'm seeing somebody to my right or to my left, I can quickly snap to that person. I can quickly snap to wherever they are at any point in time, and I need to be able to have that aiming down, because if there's ever because you really can't predict where an enemy is going to be at any part of the map, and I think it's probably going to be the smartest thing for you to do. So centering your shots, aiming exactly where you need to be, focusing on your settings, and making sure that you're really comfortable with where you are with your sensitivity, and that's something that you can maintain down the line, I think are probably going to be the 3 best foundational pieces of information that I can give you right now. And if you guys do need specific tips and pointers on how to work on doing this, I think it's more so an experience thing where you just go into a private lobby, load up with bots on free-for-all, ideally maybe like anywhere from 3 to 5. I think Speedball is a great map to do that on, because there's a lot of cover, there's a lot of places where you can see these enemies coming from all different sides, and free-for-all is great so that they're not all shooting at you. So I think it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. Now, after you use a submachine gun or an AR, whatever you're most comfortable with, you need to start doing this with a sniper. Snipers, especially marksman rifles, are one-shot kills on free-for-all, especially if you lower the health on all of these guns, or lower the health on all the bots and all the players. And I think that's important because when you're centering your shots, it's really helpful to do that with a sniper, because you're actually learning how to hit your shots as opposed to just hit firing and spraying against bots who aren't that good in the first place. I think using a sniper is probably going to be one of the most beneficial things to you, but if you can't use an AR or a submachine gun, I don't think you should move on to a sniper. I think you should practice using it with those guns first, and then just kind of going through the motions and practicing with this. It's not the most glamorous thing. You're not going to get all the best highlights that you want, but it's definitely the biggest piece of information that I can give you, and strengthening your aim and winning a lot more of your gunfights. Now, the last and probably most important piece of information that I can give you guys is you need to start playing 1v1s. 1v1s can be a little intimidating, especially when you're playing against players who are really good at the game and have been playing for a while, but that is the most important piece out of everything that I've given you right now that I would say has made me from initially what was a 1.4 KD player to now a 4.1 KD. And although there's a lot of other variables, like, you know, being on console versus being on PC, I think, you know, having a monitor as opposed to having playing on a TV is probably a really big portion of that too. Don't get me wrong, I think those are definitely pieces of information you need to take into account. But when you're playing against people who are really good, people who can bunny hop, people who can slide cancel and use cover, and you're not just playing against bots who are essentially mindless in this case, then you're also going to get a different level of skill that you haven't realized before. And I think when you're playing against players like that, what you need to do is make sure that you're increasing the health to anywhere from 150 to 300, so you can sort of focus on actually hitting your shots consistently and not playing a level of Call of Duty where I think it's more multiplayer based than it is Warzone based, because obviously those are 2 very different game modes. So obviously a multiplayer, the TTK is a lot smaller, a lot quicker to kill somebody than it is in Warzone. Warzone, you're going to have 3 plates, people are going to be replating, people are going to have ammo, you know, people are going to constantly have ammo in plates whenever they need to. They're going to have their teammates. So definitely increase the health. That's probably another big piece of information that I can give you. But again, your movement and your IQ and your experience, it's going to come in time. I really think the biggest foundational piece of information I can give you when it comes to getting better at Warzone overall, and not just your aim, is focusing on your aim first. If you're not hitting your shots, nothing else matters after that. If I can slide cancel and do all this, but I'm missing every single one of my shots, I'm still going to lose every single gunfight that I have. It doesn't matter where I rotate in the gas, it doesn't matter what equipment I have, what kill streaks I have. It really doesn't even matter how good my team is, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the weak link. So I want you to focus on first adjusting your sensitivity, playing against bots, and while you're playing against these bots, center your weapon wherever they are and whatever they're going to be. Focus on exactly wherever they are, and that's going to help you guys tenfold. Now, the last piece of information I can give you is starting to play Warzone with a little bit of intentionality. I think sometimes when we play Warzone, it's okay to play for fun. If you're not trying to play competitive, then this may not even be the video for you. But if you're just somebody who wants to actually get better at the game and want to win a decent amount of your gunfights and actually make a concerted effort to get better, then this is probably the biggest pieces of information that I can give you. And I think it's probably going to be the biggest pieces of information that any Warzone pro is going to be able to give you as well. So yeah, if there's any other questions that you guys have, if there's any comments or concerns that you guys have, if there's anything else that I need to answer, please let me know down in the comments, guys. I want to make sure that I help you guys get as, you know, as good as possible, honestly, depending on whatever your goals are. I know a lot of you guys just play for fun, and that's completely okay. But, you know, to those of you guys that actually want to get better at the game, that want to make an actual effort to either play competitively or get into content creation, whatever the case might be, if you just want to be good so you can brag to your friends, that's perfectly fine too. But I think these are probably the biggest pieces of information that you can start with. And again, yeah, I hope this helps. And if you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you guys like what you see and if you guys want more Warzone content in the future. But other than that, I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace and blessings. Take care.